we're going to take a look at relations. Now, we've just spent time talking about ordered pairs, and so when we look at a relation, our relation is just a set of ordered pairs. So let's take a look at this example here. We see that we have our braces here, which means that we have a set, and we have ordered pairs of 3, -2, 4, 1, -2, 3, and 0, 2. And these are related somehow. We're not sure in this case exactly how, but they are related, and so that's why they're in a set together. So we can show this information in 3 different ways. We can look at it in terms of a table. So let's start with that one. We have an ordered pair of 3, -2. So we just put it in. Our x's are in a column and our y's are in a column. We have a coordinate of 4, 1. We have a coordinate of -2, 3. And we have a coordinate of 0, 2. So we could represent it in a table, and we could use this to graph points. We could use it just to look at the information, that kind of thing. Mapping, what it shows is that how these are each related to each other. So we can have an x and a y, and so we have our 3, our 4, our -2, and our 0, because remember the first one in each of these is our x's, and our y is -2, 1, 3, and 2. Order doesn't matter in here, so you can just put them in how you want. Now when we look at a mapping, we need to point our x value to the corresponding y value. So since 3 goes to -2, and 4 goes to 1, -2 goes to 3, and 0 goes to 2, that is our mapping. And we'll take a look at a few different ones where we'll have some overlapping and some different things like that. So, but that's the basic idea of mapping. Our last one is what we've been practicing, and that is graphing. So we just need to come here and graph 3, -2. We have 4, 1. We have -2, 3. And we have 0, 2. So that is all we need to do with the graphing. We can now see maybe how they are all correlated. Maybe if they're all clumped together, then we can look at that somehow. But those are the 3 ways that we can show what a relation looks like, besides just writing it as a set like we did here. So let's take a look at if we had mapping that might look a little bit different. So let's say that we had the set of 3, 1, 0, 2, -2, 1, -4, -2, 1, -3. We're going to be focusing mainly on mapping here. We could create a table with this, we could graph these, but we are just going to do a mapping. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by putting all of our x's into the first bubble, if you will. So we have 3, 0, -2, -4, and 1. Didn't really leave myself that much space, that's right though. And then we have our y's. We have 1, 2. Now we see that 1 is repeated again, so we're not going to write it again. We're just going to leave, we're just going to have it with this one, -2 and -3. So now we need to point to what they correlate to. So we have 3, 1, we have 0, 2. Now we see that this -2 points to this 1. Now, we're not going to talk about it today, but this will come into play later when we start talking about functions. Alright, and then -4 goes to -2, and 1 goes to -3. So this brings up the point, if you have a repeating x or a repeating y, like we saw here, just write it once, and then we'll have 2 arrows going to that. Or we would have multiple arrows coming out of our x's. inverse of a relation. And what this really means is that our x becomes our y and our y becomes our x. So x becomes y and y becomes x. And it says in your book, a relation Q is the inverse of relation S if and only if for every ordered pair, AB, in S, there is an ordered pair, BA, in Q. So in other words, AB becomes BA. Let's take a look at an example. We have 3, 2, negative 4, 3, and we can do one more, negative 2, 7. So the inverse of this set would be 2, 3, 3, negative 4, and 7, negative 2. The final thing I want to talk to you today is about domain and range. Now when we talk about our x, y coordinate, our domain is what we input, which is our x, and our range is what is output, which is our y. So it really is domain and then range. So if we look at this relation here, 3, 2, negative 4, 3, and negative 2, 7, our domain is our x values, and so we would say that it's 3, negative 4, and negative 2. And our range is 2, 3, and 7. So when we talk about domain, we're talking about our x values, or our first values within our ordered pair, and our range is our second value, or our y value within our range. That is all I have for you today on relations. We covered inverse of the relations, we covered domain, we covered range, we covered tables and mappings and graphing. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Thank you for watching.